SpongeBob.
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 What do you want from me? Leave me alone.
When it comes to art and taking breaks, I feel like this is a really weird topic to kind of manage because it comes down to the person. Everybody on this earth knows the classic stereotype of artists kind of being lazy. And shoot, I mean, I know lazy artists myself. But today I'm not going to be talking about the lazy artists. I'm going to be talking about the ones that actually work hard and think they're lazy. The ones that are too afraid to take big breaks. Now personally, the reason why I feel breaks are very weird is because I suffer from not taking enough breaks. I feel like sometimes I am missing out in life when I go to take breaks, and I know that sounds weird because I need to replenish, but sometimes when I'm doing something, let's say that's a video game or I'm watching a TV show, there's just a voice in the back of my head telling me, you need to draw. I know everybody kind of inflates themselves on social media. They come across like they work harder than what they actually do, but in reality, they probably do take a lot of breaks. But for the people that do not know that, they can get this unhealthy mindset of what that actually looks like. And yes, there is things like that out there. I mean, take manga artists. Manga artists can sometimes only get 2 to 3 hours of sleep some nights, you know what I'm saying? On Google, if you search up Oda's sleep schedule, it says that he sleeps like 3 hours a night. That is insane and super unhealthy. So that's why a lot of these manga artists, you know, kind of have an early grave because they are just worked to the bone, but it does not have to be like that. And then when it comes to the other side of it, you know, people are going to look at that and think that they have to live up to that standard. At least sometimes I do, honestly. I see all these other people going super hard, and that makes me just want to go super hard all the time. Pause. But that's exactly what I'm saying. I look at that and think that that's exactly what I have to do in order to get good. In reality, that simply just is not the case. There's always a healthy dose of competition, healthy dose of like, okay, realizing that you're not the hardest worker in the room and you need to live up to that. But there's also downsides because then you start to, yes, push your limits, but then there's just a point where you just reach the peak of your limits for at least right now, and then you just burn out and drop out. And then there's the unhealthy mindset of constantly thinking you're lazy when you're not. When I look at stuff like that, it makes me think that I am lazy. I'm not the one putting in that work, you know, like that. So therefore, I am not going to get these results. Not noticing that these people have a full team behind their hand. They've been doing this for years. They draw a lot faster. And honestly, to be completely honest, it is unhealthy and they shouldn't be doing that. Manga artists shouldn't be working like that. Other artists should not be working like that. It is what it is for them. And all that does is lead to burnout. And now I'm not talking about not being dedicated, because you need to be dedicated, but that's exactly my point. Sometimes this can be hard to manage and look at yourself and realize, am I working a lot? Am I overworking? Am I being lazy? Am I taking appropriate amount of breaks? Like, how do I just manage all of this? So with that being said, I'll be giving you a breakdown of my day. I usually get up to go to work at 6, get there at 7, work till 4, get off at 4:30. Then I usually start drawing, get done around 9, and then I play games till 11, and then I just rinse and repeat. So for the most part, I draw every single day, and I usually take breaks throughout the day, not necessarily taking a day off. So with that being said, now that I'm also doing YouTube, my schedule can get really tight, and sometimes it can be a little overbearing. Not to mention my off days. I always work on my off days when it comes to art. Those are the days I get the most done, and I need those days in order to make deadlines with my own stuff and my own one shot, and then also my own personal deadlines with my art, posting it on social media, and then also doing YouTube. Those are the days I absolutely need. So the days that I'm actually off, I'm actually putting in more hours than my day job. But what happens if you need more than an hour break? What happens if you need a day break? What happens if you need a week break? Or what happens if you hypothetically need a month break off? I've personally never taken a month break off, but I digress. Sometimes it's really hard to put the pen down for me because I'll go on social media and I'll see people producing every week, being more consistent, and also producing better art than me. And so sometimes it's really hard for me to just kind of take a break because I feel like I'm in this constant loop of trying to play catch up and doing more work. But this week I had no choice to take a break whether I liked it or not. Needless to say that there was a sickness going around called gastro whatever blah blah blah, and I ended up getting that, and so I ended up being sick for like a whole week, constantly puking, just getting up and throwing up, can't keep anything down, and so I was just bedridden the whole week. I didn't get to draw or do anything the whole entire week. So while I was staring at the ceiling the whole week, I got to do some honest reflecting and thinking. Then I started to think to myself, what is an appropriate break? What separates a break from laziness then from burnout? And sometimes it can be hard because some of these overlap for me. You know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of hard sometimes to kind of look at myself and see which spot I am fitting into. But by taking this break this week, I realized how much I needed this break. I mean, it took me sick to get here, but nonetheless, I still got one. But by being sick and being out for the whole week, I realized that I feel more replenished to go back to art. I feel more excited to go back to art. I feel like I have more steam. You know, throughout the week, sometimes there's times where I'm just like, man, I really do not want to draw right now. I really don't want to do anything YouTube related. I don't want to work on the one shot. There's just things I don't want to do, you know, and I do end up pushing through those. But there are some times where you just probably just need to step back and be like, hey, I don't want to do this, because then you go harder and more excitement comes from it by taking a break. I wanted to become a machine. I wanted to be a machine. But the bad thing about machines is that machines are not human. You don't get to see the full extent of your soul onto paper or onto the tablet or whatever it is that you're using to do art. Machines can only replicate. They cannot create something new. And by me just pumping out all this art constantly all the time, it made me realize that my art just seems very soulless. It's like, yeah, I'm pumping art and I'm being consistent, but it doesn't really mean anything. This is not my top, art that I'm doing. This is not me with my magnum opus. This is just me pumping out stuff for the sake of pumping out stuff. And then now that I took a break, now I feel like I'm more energized to do better, to have better art, to be more creative. My mind has settled, and I look back and I take a step back and I realize what I need to do in order for this to get done. My mind is simply not crowded by deadlines. It's not crowded by I need to get this done, or I'm lazy, or this, that, and the other, or other people's success on social media, or not success even. It's just simply my own lane, and I love that. And I love that I actually got to take this break. The first couple of days were pretty rough because I felt like, what am I gonna do? I haven't posted on YouTube, I haven't posted on Instagram. I'm gonna miss this week. I'm gonna miss on all things, you know what I'm saying? And therefore, blah, 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 whatever. And it's just rumbling through my head. But over time, I started to realize, like, dang, this is what I needed. Let me just take a break. Let me just sit back. Let me relax. And then when I come back out of this, when I'm not sick, I'm gonna push even harder. I have way more vigor for this, I think also sometimes we as artists, we have to realize 1 week, 1 day, 1 hour, it's really not gonna do anything for us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not missing out on anything. It's not gonna be the end of the world. I'm not lazy for wanting to take a day off. I'm not lazy for wanting to take a week off. It's when you continuously want to do those things and your priorities are not straight. But if your priorities are straight, and we all know within ourselves what our priorities are. We do. I don't have to sit here and tell you what exactly your priorities are. If your priorities with art are good and you are putting in honest work, then it's not gonna matter if we take a break. And I think that's something I had to realize, like, it's not the end of the world if I want to take a day off. It really isn't, so I think it's just a good way to like look at this scenario and look at this situation and think to ourselves, so we don't get burnt out, so we don't lose our creativity, because at this point, it's not even about burnout. It's not about, man, I just don't want to draw, or I don't know what to draw, or this, that, and the other. I don't want to draw anymore, blah, blah, blah. It's more of, am I producing the best I can produce? Am I doing the best that I can? That's also a downside by constantly pushing and pushing and pushing yourself. It's like you just start to lose your creativity. You start to lose your soul in all of this. You start to lose the happiness that these things bring you. I'm doing this because I'm having fun. I'm not doing this like, yes, I want to become successful in this. I mean, what artist doesn't? Would I like to make money off of this? Yes, that'd be awesome. But at the end of the day, let's say this whole art thing does not work out for me. I'm not going to quit art. It will just become my hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, I want to do this as a career, but if worse comes to worse, I never accomplish anything, that doesn't mean I'm going to stop art. I will always be doing art to the day I die. But that's also the case where it's like, dude, this is my journey. It's easy to look at other people. Well, this person got, this at this age. Like, dude, I'm 23 right now. There's other people like Third PHP, DD Mark, whatever, that are like around the same age as I am, and they already have way more one-shots, way more followings. Dude, DD Mark literally has an actual series, and it's easy to look at stuff like that, but then you have to realize not everybody is on the same page. Who's to say that I need to get good at a certain age? Does it really matter? Like, why am I in this big super rush, to get things done? And I think I just really need to think about this type of stuff, and I need to reframe my mindset, because if I'm not happy from this, what's the whole point? To be clear. So yeah, make sure to take breaks. Have a better mindset on breaks. You're not taking breaks because you're lazy. You're taking breaks because you want to go even harder. You want to ascend even harder. Kind of like muscles. You work out, you need sleep in order to gain that muscle. That's the same thing here. Take your breaks. But yeah, that will be the end of this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I will be making a video here soon about my one-shot. By the time this comes out, my one-shot should be done. But also be sure to follow me on Instagram, and I also have a Twitter now. So yeah, peace.